It's now Tambo here from the EFF, and greetings to the department and to all stakeholders. I reiterate the sentiments of the Honorable Langa. It's a bit unfortunate. I've got two questions for the department. So when you speak about risks, you speak about how the United States is South Africa's third largest automotive export destination. And you speak about the concerns and fears around how the current hostilities and the threat of AGOA not being renewed pose a risk to this market. So you speak about the United States of America's trade role or trade relationship with South Africa as something that we must be concerned about in terms of losing it, and how it continues to be a threat to our export position. Then when you speak about the United States of America and India's relationship or its impact on our localization strategies or our local production of high-tech competitive vehicles in the export market, it's more of a threat than something of a relationship that can be mended or fixed or pursued in the same vein or same attitude that you speak about the United States of America. I'm curious as to why. Because when we get the position in the way that it is now, the only logical conclusion to make is that we need to impose stricter regulations on the imports of vehicles or goods or things of this nature from India and from China. Any logical person reading the presentation as it is would reach that logical conclusion that there is a threat of our market being flooded by products from India and China, and we need to deal with that threat. And it does not seem to be in the same reconciliatory attitude or approach as we think we should approach the United States of America. So the United States of America is presented here as an export destination and export position that we need to protect, while India and China are presented as import dumpers, for lack of a better word. I'm just curious as to what is the thinking? How do we resolve, or what, you've said you've led an internal review process on localization as the department. I'm curious as to your insight on how do we resolve the dilemma that you seek to present as one that is posed by China and India here. And can we get more insight on this review that's focusing on localization? Because the statistics that you're giving us from 2014 to 2024, if I'm not mistaken, are a cause for concern. It's a stagnation, and I'm glad that you're able to characterize it as that you're frank with us, that there's been a stagnation. You're saying you have led a review. What is the status of that review now? What are the key insights you've made? And particularly, what interventions are you seeking to approach as it relates to India and China, but also as it relates to the USA's current hostilities towards us, which I want to state to you categorically because there's an aspiration that we are all going to weather the storm to the end of Donald Trump's term. I don't think the end of Donald Trump's term is going to change the hostilities and relations with us in the United States of America. Because for those of us with any interest in international relations, South Africa maintains good relationships with nations such as Iran, nations such as Palestine. We've taken Israel to the International Court of Justice. And if the Honorable Gohlimbi is as principled as I think of him to be, we're not going to abandon those positions at the exchange of trade. So what optimism do we have that the relationship with the US can be salvaged? And if it cannot be, what are the contingencies the department is working on? And who are the alternative markets that we're going to prioritize to replace the United States of America as this third largest export market? If we lose them, or if we continue to have stringent measures such as these tariffs due to the international relations space right now, which I do not foresee will change whether Trump is in office or not, what contingencies do we have in place other than labeling India and China, which could be possibly our greatest allies in trade, as people who are dumping in our market and undermining local industry? Thank you, Chair.